Hey guys, welcome back to Homestead Seed. My name is Lisa. Today we're doing a couple things in the kitchen, and one of them is we're going to start preserving some of my Seminole pumpkins. So I went ahead and gave them just a quick wash. I don't use any pesticides or anything, so just to kind of get any extra dirt or whatever off of them. So these I've had on my sewing machine desk for a few months, so some of them are starting to get a little bit lighter, less dense, so you can tell that they're almost done staying fresh. So what we're going to do is I'm going to roast them in the oven and then puree them for the freezer. There's multiple different ways you can preserve them, but for these smaller ones, I'm going to roast them and baggie them up in portions, what would be like a can of pumpkin, and pop them in my freezer to use for muffins or pasta or whatever we want. So I'm going to show you how I do this. All right, so I got one of my biggest pans that I have that's nice and deep. So I just lined it with some parchment paper and some spray just to make cleanup a little easier. And I'm going to start with this pumpkin right here first. So what you want to do is get the stem off first. So a lot of people kind of just knock it on the side of their counter like that, and it comes right off. And this will go into the compost. So now what you want to do is de-seed it. So very carefully with a very sharp knife, you just want to cut it in half. Alright, so this is what the inside looks like. This is a really delicious pumpkin here. So I'm going to also roast the seeds at the same time. So I like to use a canning lid. It's like the easiest thing to get all of these things off and out of it. So I'll just scoop it off to the side right now, and I'll put this in a colander and rinse them out later. So just like that. And then I like to cut them in half again, just to make them a little smaller so I can stack them. So then what I'll do is just put them all in my pan. I like to do them cut side down so they don't hold any of the moisture, because you want to get rid of that moisture. So I'll kind of just do this, and I'm going to stack them all up in this pan. All right, so this is about half of the pumpkins that I do. This is probably enough for one load. So I'm gonna put them in a 400-degree oven for an hour, and then I'll check to make sure that they're soft with a fork. All right, this one is done. This was in the oven for an hour at 400. It's nice and soft, but not too soft. You don't want it to be mush. So I'll let this sit here on the oven for a little bit, and in goes round two. Alright guys, so I got the rest of the pumpkin seeds all cleaned. I just did it in a colander and got as much of it out as I could, all the strings and stuff. But to be honest, that sometimes tastes pretty good when you roast it. So what I do is I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil on top of them. Salt. Granulated onion. And some granulated garlic. Now you can season these however you like, but I did this the last time I cooked some up and it was really good. As you can tell, I'm not measuring, I'm just kind of guesstimating. And then I'm just going to mix them all up. And then spread them as thin as I can in the pan. And these will go in the oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. When I do a smaller batch of the pumpkins, I can just put this tray of the seeds right underneath while I bake the pumpkin itself. And then just check these after about 20 minutes and see if they're done to your liking. Some people like them a little more burnt, some people don't. So whichever you prefer the best, at 400 degrees until they're done. All right, so the pumpkin's still in the oven now, so I'll wait till those are out and get these out, and then I'm going to start getting the flesh out of the pumpkin. All right, so these cooled down enough to where I can scoop them out. So what I just have like is a grapefruit spoon, and I'm just scooping out the flesh. Sometimes you can peel the skin off, but these weren't doing that very well, so this works a little easier. And I'm just putting it into my Ninja blender. I thought that might work a little better than my Vitamix. And then I'm just gonna blend it on up and see how it blends, if I need to add a little water or not. And then I'll put it in Ziploc bags and flatten it out and put it in my freezer. Let's see if we can get this blended. right, so this is my outcome of my pumpkin cooking day. This is both trays of seeds all put together. So I'll let these finish cooling and put them in the fridge in a container, like just any type of airtight container. And I got 3, 6, 7, 8 15-ounce bags of blended up pumpkin. It worked really well. I had to add about 1/4 cup of water just to make it mix in. And so these will be ready for the freezer. I'll just freeze them flat just like this, and they'll defrost really well. And then they don't take up quite as much space if you make them flat like this. And then we'll eat these for snacks over the next couple of weeks. And that is it. So if you wanted to save seeds, which I already saved seeds from these pumpkins, before you bake them, after you rinse them, go ahead and spread them out on a paper towel in one layer and air dry those for a few days. And once they're completely dry, then you can put them in a Ziploc bag. Make sure you label what they are. These are Seminole pumpkins. Thanks for watching, y'all.